You are listening to Episode 2 of the College Salute, a Region 5 Gymnastics Insider podcast.
I'm a Region 5, we are burning fire. Say 1, 2, ready or not, here I come, coming in hot. I'ma take my body for a spin.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to our second edition of the College Salute, our weekly college gymnastics podcast, recapping some of the week's top meets and highlighting the standout performances of our Region 5 alums. Joining me this week to hit our handstands and stick our landings with the big college salute is Kim Dawes. We would like to thank our sponsors, Spieth America. For over 50 years, Spieth America has been one of the most trusted gymnasium and sports equipment manufacturers in North America, and Full Out Recruiting. They go full out to get your future Caitlin Hoashi viral routines noticed with top-notch consulting and marketing services. Visit fulloutcollegiaterecruiting.com for more info. Thank you both for your continued support of the Region 5 Insider. Now let's get the show moving before we get the 2/10 pause deduction. We will start with our segment,
Salute the Heights.
This weekend was the first live Friday night gymnastics in the SEC on ESPN's Friday Night Heights, and it was a Tigers takeover. Friday, we saw the LSU Tigers, Auburn Tigers, and the Missouri Tigers all in action, as well as our first look at the Florida Gators. We will start with LSU at Auburn, and even though there weren't many of our Region 5 alums in this competition, it was an exciting competition, with Auburn getting the close win over the 2018 SEC champs by a score of 196-7 to 196-625. Kim, I don't know if you had happened to catch this competition, but I was very, very impressed with Darien Goulburn. She definitely stood out in this competition. She is an Auburn freshman. She competed for the first time in her career in the all-around and won the individual title with a 39.475. Her 9.95 on floor brought the house down, led by the Tiger cheerleaders in the background. You could see them on the sidelines. Coach Greba said that everyone was screaming at the end of Darien's floor routine that it was so loud. It was louder than he had ever heard in that building for a gymnastics meet. Her facial expressions and landings stole the show for sure. I thought that was just an awesome performance overall, but she's definitely one that I'm sure people in the NCAA are going to keep their eye on as she will help Auburn this year for sure. For Region 5 standpoint, Auburn does not have any Region 5 gymnasts as of now for this particular season, but LSU, obviously, Lexi Priestman from Cincinnati Gymnastics, of course, we all know Lexi very well. She hit a solid bar set for a 9.925. Actually, I think the bar set was better than it was last week. And then she had a 9.8 on vault. She's still only competing those two events. Not sure we'll see her in the floor lineup. But we got to see the return of McKenna Kelly last weekend on ESPN 3. However, this week she was doing a layout timer. At least this would seem like this one when it happened. She did a layout timer, and ESPN was talking about her injury from last year. They talked to her, they talked to Dee Dee, and they come back from a commercial to find out that she has done something to the top of her foot. She's kind of limping off the floor with ice on her foot and what have you. And so she had to be replaced in the floor lineup, so we didn't get to see McKenna Kelly this particular week. But overall, the competition was, a tight competition for the most part, obviously, with the score being a little less than a tenth of a point. So definitely a hats off to Auburn to take down LSU, and exciting to see their new freshman, Darien Goulburn, do so well. But before the LSU-Auburn meet took the floor for their battle, the Tigers of Missouri took on the Florida Gators. And the Missouri put up a respectable 196.45, but not enough to top the Gators as they scored a 197.3. We got to see the very talented Florida freshmen. They had a class of 6, 5 of which are competed this weekend. One of those freshmen is a Region 5 alum, and she got to make her college debut on beam. due to Alyssa Bauman's pulling out of the competition. Not sure if many of you, if you saw the meet or you heard, but Alyssa peeled off bars in practice and was pulled from the competition, though she's all right. Kim, let's talk a little bit about Leah Clapper, how she did.
I was really impressed with Leah because I had no idea that she was going to even compete beam at all. And so then I was watching, and then they said, hey, Leah Clapper is competing anchoring beam due to injury from Alyssa. And she went up and completely hit her set. She does a triple series, back handspring lay, which you don't see a lot of that in college, but she did that as a club athlete and brought it over to her college routine. But I was completely impressed with how she hit that beam routine right to the stuck landing at the end with that perfect college salute. I thought she was amazing, and it was great to see her in that position and handle the pressure of first meet freshman anchoring beam.
Yeah, and she kept in her layout. A lot of times they'll, unless they're really solid, but even like elites will go back to the back handspring layout because it's consistent. They've done it forever, so it's easier to make on a consistent basis, but still throwing that layout. And great job to Leah. She was able to handle the anchor position because obviously they just slid her into Alyssa's spot. Alyssa is the anchor for Florida on beam, and rightfully so. And being able to handle that pressure as a freshman and go out there and enjoy the experience, it seemed like, and compete at home in your first college competition. That was really awesome. The 2018 most consistent gator, as nominated by her teammates last year, Amelia Huntley. Her bars were as good as they always are, as she obviously goes up to the high bar, down to the low bar, and back up to the high bar with her Maloney pack and then her Maloney half. She stuck her half and half out for a 9.875 and also scored a 9.85 on both beam and floor. Like I said, as consistent as always. Love her whip double back. They keep saying that she's going to be putting in her double layout eventually. They said that last year. Hopefully, maybe this year we'll get to see it, but her whip double back is so consistent.
I absolutely loved her floor routine. She always has a great floor routine, really great dance expression, shows it off. But the funny thing is the beginning of her routine is from The Greatest Showman. And she does the exact poses from the movie that Hugh Jackman does in the opening of the movie, which, ironically, I find funny because I just choreographed a floor routine for an Oakland gymnastics gymnast here in Michigan in the summer, way before I even saw this floor routine. And she has the same exact poses in the beginning. So I kind of was laughing while I was watching that because great minds must think alike.
They must. So obviously 9.85 on floor, so the judges clearly like that choreography as well. And of course beam, I know that they mentioned with the new 2/10 pausing rule that they have in the NCAA, that Amelia has had to work kind of through that with a lot of arm movements. She does do a lot of arm movements to keep that beam routine moving, so she doesn't have that deduction of that pause. A non-Region 5 kid, but a strong Region 7 kid, Alicia Boren, is a senior this year, but she's come out on fire. Her competition on Friday was absolutely awesome. She rocked all 4 events.
Her floor routine was amazing. The dance, the choreography was amazing.
Yeah, she put up a 39.575 with 9.925 on the floor routine you were just talking about. A solid beam set at 9.9 and then 2 9.875. So definitely a strong start to Alicia's senior year, which I know she's going to be looking to lead this team. But of course, like we talked about last week, my favorite gymnast, I think, this year in the NCAA, because she's one of my favorite elites on the U.S. national team, Trinity Thomas. She came out with some explosion coming in the first event. Ncaa 1.5 and almost bounced off the floor, bounced off the landing mats. Big step. So she didn't quite start off with a solid score that she probably would have liked to, with only a 9.775, but 9.95 on her bar routine, which I'm actually excited about her bar set because you can tell, even though she's taken out all her big releases, her raise and stuff, she's kept the flow of her routine the same. So leads me to believe that she is possibly continuing, as I know she was at camp, possibly continuing to do elite through the college, her college career. and see possibly towards, an Olympic berth. But she's keeping she does the Maloney into the back uprise clear hip, which is where she will do her Ray or Ncaa. I can't remember what she does right now at the moment. But she just goes right into a pack. So she's keeping the flow of the routine like it is in elite. And she went 9.95 there. Solid beam set, and then floor. I don't know, what do you think about her floor routine?
I like it. I like her. I like everything about her. So she's solid on everything. She's just amazing. I'm so glad that she's at Florida and, obviously she's going to be in lineups. But what I really like about Florida is there wasn't really a floor routine I didn't like. So I like her a lot. And I love that she's staying true to who she is, and I just like her.
Well, she definitely is enjoying the college gymnastics scene, and I think that that's going to definitely help her as well to make it and stay with the elite scene, hopefully, because of obviously the joy she's having, and we wish her luck. 39.475 in her first meet, so awesome start for Trinity. Let's talk just quickly about the Missouri Tigers. I mean, they were strong. They had a great competition, pretty consistent. They don't have, like I said, anywhere near the caliber in the sense of the accolades that Florida has. Most of them are all like level 10 athletes that have competed at JO Nationals and what have you, not the Olympic Games or World Championships or what have you. But we have a former Region 5 kid. She was with Cincinnati Gymnastics for a few years, and Hannah Mercury. Hannah did a nice 1.5 on vault. Stuck it. Well, I mean, not stuck it. I think she had a slight slide of her foot, but she was, pretty solid landing, 9.875, and a awesome floor routine for Missouri as well, 9.85. And then Aspen Tucker. Aspen Tucker did the all-around for Missouri, their only all-arounder, and she's been a star for that team the last few years. Had a solid performance, and her floor routine, she's powerhouse on floor, pretty bouncy. She went 9.875, and I enjoyed watching all of her gymnastics, as well as Morgan Porter. Her 9.85 bar set was one of the best bar sets for the Missouri Tigers, and awesome job there. So that completes this weekend's Salute the Heights, as we only had 2 meets, but next Friday night, the Friday Night Heights will feature 3 live meets. They'll start out in Kentucky with the Arkansas, Kentucky, which we will have quite a few actually, Region 5 alums in that meet. Alabama, Georgia, so we'll get to see Alabama again. Alabama's had 2 quad meets, and we're going to talk about their quad this weekend in a minute. And then Florida, LSU, so we'll get to see LSU and Florida again. Florida will travel to LSU to take on the Tigers there. And we'll see all of those meets next Friday night. And of course, we'll talk about them on Salute the Heights next week in our podcast. But moving on to some meets that that we saw across the country that feature more of our Region 5 alums. I want to start off with the Alabama, Michigan, Denver, and Bowling Green meet. This meet was exciting. I know last weekend, Alabama hosted a 4-meet team meet, again, a quad meet. And we're going to talk a little bit in a little bit about why I think there are more quad meets this year, due to the changes in the way regionals and nationals work out for the NCAA now. There's more quad meets, but this was another quad meet that featured, obviously, some strong performances from big schools of Alabama and Michigan. Denver pulled out a surprise, which we'll talk about in a second. And then Bowling Green has a few Region 5 kids, and we got to see one of them actually on the live stream here. So we'll start with Bowling Green and Julia Beyer from Naperville. Unfortunately, Julia didn't have the best performance that she probably wanted to have as a national debut or a televised debut for the year, but she went out of bounds on her double pike and then put her hands down on her double tuck last pass. But it's good to see Julia out there, and many may not remember, she was a JO national qualifier a couple years ago. she's had some struggles here and there with some injuries here and there over her course of her career, and it's good to see you get out there and be able to compete for Bowling Green. She's a great kid. I've known her for a while, and I hope to catch another meet or see her again, and I know she'll go out there and hit that set with a little bit, obviously a little stronger the next time she's out. From Michigan, obviously we know the alums that we have there, and Olivia Karas had a much better meet this weekend than she did last weekend, and she debuted on floor, which she wasn't sure she was going to, and I actually left a message for her, and she messaged me back and said she didn't even know she was going to be doing floor until she got to the competition. She's been training it. It's not like she just all of a sudden did it, but she wasn't sure that she was going to actually be doing floor, but she exhibitioned floor for the first time since her Achilles injury. But of course competed on bars like she has with Michigan's top score of 9.85. It was a much better routine this week than in Cancun. A lot better swing like she normally does. Like I said last time, she felt like, it seemed like to me she was muscling her bars, and here she was obviously much more swinging the event versus muscling it. Balance beam, she stayed on this, though she had a wobble on her flip-flop layout step out. But she did stay on, and then of course her Yurchenko full was solid. But yeah, she did get to compete floor. She did a double Arabian, which was huge, and she landed with her chest standing straight up and down, no leaning forward. And she ended with a double twist. I'm not sure exactly why she did that, if it was just because she's not ready fully to add the double pike, or if she's going to go back to using her whip double twist, which is what she did in club gymnastics for many years. So not sure again if it's just she's not ready to double pike, or if they're going to make a change and she will do a whip double full for her last pass.
During her floor routine, she looked just excited to be able to be out there and competing floor. And what I do like about her is she does on beam a switch split jump, which is incredibly difficult. Not many people can do that. So I love that, and it's 180 degrees. It's super beautiful. And I do agree her bars was better. She let herself swing more this week. So little by little, she's getting herself right back there.
And we talked also last week about Emma getting back in the lineup on balance beam. Well, she was this week.
But I've heard us.
Yes, she must have heard us. It was the exhibition in Cancun, and she was in the middle of the lineup here. Solid set for her. I think she only went 9.75 this weekend, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, but definitely a solid set. It wasn't like she was wobbling for 9.75, so.
I didn't really see like any huge errors. I mean, her dismount was a stuck, but it was like kind of like fighting to stick.
Right.
But I didn't see like any wobbles, or she had a 180 degree split, where the 9.75 came from, I don't know.
As we mentioned last week, it was at Alabama, and Alabama seems so far in the first two meets a little bit tight scoring across the board for all teams, not just even Alabama. So that possibly could have contributed to it. Also, Lexi Funk had a 9.8 on balance beam right after Emma. Solid routine, as she always is on balance beam.
She has a beautiful popa.
And she does have a beautiful popa. Big jump. I mean, it definitely gets off the beam. It has some height, and it definitely draws your attention to it. The other thing I think it's cool about Lexi, if you pay attention to after routines, her and Paulina have some cool like hand clap things that they do, and it's just really the original high five stuff. It was kind of cool that they do. Yeah. So you might want to check that out. Of course, for Alabama, we have Shea Mahoney and Emily Gaskins. Both of them had solid vaults for Alabama. They're both doing Yurchenko folds that land and stand straight up. 9.8, 2.5, 9.8 solid landings to start off for Alabama. I also liked Emily's bar ending. She hit her bar routine, and I'm not sure, I have to look back, I can't remember who she does it to, but she basically does a bow and arrow to her teammate, like she's letting go the bow and arrow, and then her teammate caught it. I can't remember who it was, but she also has an original high five type thing with her team, with that particular teammate, I believe, too. So those kind of cool things that are done, I know that are or some things that are cool outside of the actual gymnastics to see what the kids do, to kind of have fun and enjoy being on the competition floor together. She did have a solid bar set, though she did take a little hop and went at the end of her double layout. Shay had a little bit of a hop 200 dismount, but again, a solid routine 9.8, and back again doing that to Tkachev instead of the Maloney. It's just a little bit more consistent, a little easier for her, and you can tell she she just looks more confident. Her face is not as worried before she goes because, like I said, she's used to that. In terms of Emily, I don't know if you happen to catch Emily's balance beam routine. Everyone knows Emily's beautiful mount that she does, that jump back to basically arm stand on the beam. Well, I think she kicked it just a little too much this weekend because she basically had to hop her hands quickly and then almost do a drop kip. I mean, she went under the beam to a V hang, and then had to come off the bar or the beam and then climb back up. So I've never seen Emily miss that. I've seen her do it in in training several times at championships and in the meets and what have you. But I've never seen her actually miss it, and she way overdid that this weekend. But the rest of the routine was very, very solid after that. Shay had also had an interesting issue happen on floor. She had a nice floor team going until her last pass. She did a double back, and she opened up early enough that she was in an angle that when she landed, she basically sprung like she was going to do a front flip and did a forward roll out of her pass. Now, those of you who know, her senior year, as I think we mentioned last week, she tore her Achilles. So when you see a landing like that, you kind of worry, oh boy, we don't obviously want her to tear it again, but that landing was very close to like the angle. It could have, been serious. But it kind of reminded me, it was funny because it kind of reminded me, if you know that the new Fantastic Gymnastics vault game, my kids got it for Christmas, and you push the button, the thing flies. It looked literally like she hit, and then someone hit a button, and she just exploded off the floor, and then did a forward roll.
She forward rolled right into stand up ending pose.
Yep, it fit like it was supposed to happen, but obviously, clearly, we knew that that's not the case. So, kind of stinks for Shay because she did have a good meet other than that. But the floor routine was nice going into that last pass, but unfortunately, maybe she's working double back punch front now. Who knows? And she just forgot about that she wasn't doing it today.
You should have just punched front right out of that.
just do it. Just punch right out. Do that right out of there. Really quick, we got to see the first floor performance from Shaylin Olsen from obviously Canada, now an Alabama Crimson Tide. She competed floor, beautiful pike full in, solid last pass of double pike, and then of course we got to see her double twisting Yurchenko again with a nice stuck, standing straight up and down, the typical vault for Shaylin. Great job there. Wanted to make sure we talked a little bit about that. She competed floor this weekend, but we have to talk about Denver. Denver was awesome, and they talked to Melissa, head coach Melissa Kutcher Reinhardt, but I know her as Melissa Kutcher. She was the assistant coach at Michigan when I was there. Worked with her at several Michigan women's camps. She's an awesome person. She's so cool. But she got to talk about her team and kind of what their focus is on and what have you. But let's talk. My MVP of at least this meet for sure, but maybe this entire weekend is Maddie Carr. And Maddie, for those of you who know Maddie was a strong JO gymnast. She was a Region 4 athlete. She was a teammate of Maggie Nichols up at TCT. But her energy for the team, she's a captain, but her energy in the meet, she's solid in all of her gymnastics. Everything's big, but she comes off the events because she's so into the competition, so into the performance, and she gets all her teammates high-fiving and stuff. It's really exciting to see, and it definitely makes what college gymnastics is all about.
I was impressed a lot with Denver with Lindsey Brown. She hit every event she was in. She killed it. And her energy, she had high energy just like Maddie. But I was definitely impressed with her. I've never heard of this girl before. But obviously we don't have anybody at Denver, so I really don't pay attention. But I was blown away. Denver they were amazing. They were fantastic.
They looked great.
They're doing out there in Denver.
Yes, and you talk about Lindsey. I like how she spells Lindsey. I've actually never
Yeah.
seen her name spelled that way, or Lindsey spelled that way, Lynnzee. It's pretty cool. But she has a huge double layout on floor that has her feet glued together. There is no form break. You know, some do a beautiful double layout, but then they have that slight leg separation, or their feet are flexed a little bit. Perfect. It was, I mean, it was a beautiful double layout. She was an NCAA qualifier last season on floor, but she went 9.875. She also had a huge 1.5 that was almost stuck. A slight slide of her foot on that, but she definitely is going to be one to watch for sure, and will help the Denver team all year. This meet was close. Denver won the meet with a 196.275. Alabama 196.175, and Michigan 196.025. So, you know, right in there, 2/10 separate, 1 from 3. And definitely it's going to be a battle within those particular teams for some of those spots going into nationals, you know, at the end of the season. That brings me up to this competition. We got to kind of see how the breakdown for the NCAA is actually going to be run. Many probably already know this, but they actually had like some screens to talk about it, and when explain, you know, exactly what it was about. And we're going to talk about that a little bit on at the end of this podcast on exactly how that all works out. So moving on to some other meets that we had some Region 5 athletes in the Western Michigan competition, the win over NIU. Western won with a 195.075 to 193.95. If you look at that score, the final score, you would think that Western pretty much dominated NIU. But actually, that's not the case. NIU struggled on bars in this meet, but if you take the other 4 events, it was a very close meet within tenths. Northern finished the competition, or sorry, not finished because they finished on beam, but their third event, they had the highest floor score, breaking the 49 barrier on floor, and both teams were solid mid to high 48s. Unfortunately, Northern struggled a little bit with their bar work and dropped down to a 47.6, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, 47.6 on bars. But overall, this competition proved to be, I wish that we could have seen this competition. Obviously, we just saw by what the scores were, but if you would like to, Kim, start us off with a little bit of highlights that you noticed from the meet.
Well, as you've said, there's a lot of Region 5 kids in this meet. I want to start with Western, and the Jennings are definitely a vault family because Katie Jennings, who is Sydney Jennings from Ohio State's sister, is in the vault lineup for Western, which is exciting. She went 9.6. Taylor Bice from Champion USA 9.7, and Rachel Underwood 9.8. So kind of building on each other. Got some really nice vaulters there with Western. Three Region 5 kids took on the bars, all scoring above 9.7. Rachel Underwood and Taylor Bice and Amelia Moeller all had, you know, moderately huge bar routines. And then over to balance beam from Western, it was pretty much a domination of Region 5 alumni on balance beam, with Emily Careless making her debut with 9.625. Same with Alyssa Keller from All American Flames making her first lineup, 9.7. Taylor Bice 9.8. Amelia 9.8, and Underwood 9.85. So definitely dominant Region 5 alumni beam workers over there at Western.
Yeah, it looks like it could be a JO Nationals competition there on balance beam with all the Region 5 kids.
Oh, plus over when we get to NIU, that's another dominant NIU with beam. So moving over to floor, Emily and Rachel both floor routines. Rachel went 9.9, which I wish we could have seen that floor routine because I'm sure it was incredible being 9.9. But hopefully soon we'll get to see some sort of live stream of Western.
Well, I know Western is here at NIU on Friday, so they kind of switched the the venues for weekend, from weekend to weekend for competition. So I know NIU does stream their meets live, so we'll hopefully get to see that meet live next week. Rachel, though, just to kind of give her some props, is the Mac Gymnast of the Week for her performance at their opening home performance. She scored a 39.275 with a 9.9 on floor, the 9.85 on beam, and then two 9.7s. Sorry, 9.8 on vault and then a 9.7 on bars, 9.725, I think. So definitely congratulations on starting off the season with a honor there in the MAC conference. And coming up in a little bit, we have our conversation, our weekly conversation with one of our alums, and Rachel is our conversation, talking a little bit about being out there as a senior and doing, the all-around and being that leader for the Western Broncos team. And then NIU had a much better overall performance than they did last week in Alabama. We saw some strong vaults, all within the 9 counting scores of 9.575 up to a high of 9.75 from Gabby Welsh, Amanda Bartomeu, and then Cindy Lamberti, who is, of course, a Region 5 athlete. Bars, that was a little bit of a struggle, as we said. I'd like to know what happened to Allison Richardson, because Allison usually is a strong, consistent bar worker. She put up a 6.575, so clearly some issues there. But they had a high of 9.775 from Nina Martucci, a Region 5 kid from, of course, AGA. We talked about her last week. But over in balance beam, as you mentioned, the balance beam team of Western as well as Northern, being a Region 5 led group. Katherine Vidal had her second performance in her college career, went 9.825. We'd like to have seen that routine, definitely. Anna Martucci, 9.7. Allison Richardson bounced back from her bars clearly with the 9.725, and then Cindy Lamberti 9.7, and then, like I mentioned, Mia Lord, she's the anchor for this team as a sophomore, and he struggled last week in Alabama, this week in 9.8 on balance beam to close the lineup for Northern. And then floor exercise was a big routine. This again was the 49-1. It was capped off by the NCAA regional qualifier and NCAA qualifier, Anna Martucci, on floor exercise with a 9.9. She does a double layout in her floor routine. Just an awesome set. And like I said, I've seen it several times live when I go to NIU meets, and it's awesome. I'm glad to see that she gets the recognition. But they ended with 9.8, 9.85, and 9.9 for their last three, to put up a 49-1 in that meet. So looked like a great competition. Hopefully, like I said, we'll see it again this coming weekend at NIU, and hopefully we'll see some more quality gymnastics from both of these programs. The next meet we're going to cover or look into is the meet held at Pitt with Eastern Michigan, Utah State, and West Virginia. We, of course, saw West Virginia last weekend at Cancun. So this competition was won by West Virginia with a 195.5. Second was the Pitt Panthers at 194.75. Third place in this competition went to Utah State with a 194.6. And then 192.7 rounded out with Eastern Michigan. This competition, we got to see very little from the other teams, although we did see some impressive performances from the ones that they actually did show. But we mostly saw all of the Pitt Panther routines. But we have a couple Region 5 kids on that team. And Kim, you want to talk a little bit about the two that we have from Pitt?
So Sophie Beau from Pitt, she had a great little day. She competed 3 events, vault, bars, and floor. Sophie is a former club athlete from Michigan and have followed her for a long time. So it's really nice to see her, in these lineups her last year of high school. She was injured most of the time, so didn't really get to see her finish out high school. So it was nice to finally get to see her. She's a sophomore. She went 9.775 on vault with an almost stuck Yurchenko full. Her bar set went 9.725, small hop on the landing, couple little form breaks, but pretty good. Floor, she went 9.75. Her first pass, which was a full in, was a little low, landed chest down, kind of a long set. Her second pass and her third pass were done well. So she had an overall nice routine.
And that's a new full in for her. That's new this year. I remember her posting something on her Instagram this summer where she was training it and had said that she was, going to put this in new for this year. And so it's good to see it's out there on the competition floor. We have Rachel Dugan, who is from Bartlett Gymnastics. Rachel competed bars, and I do have to give her props because she does a ginger with her feet together. A lot of people catch a ginger and their feet separate and a little bit, and her feet stay glued together, and she goes right to a kip and then cast a handstand, and this is where her error occurred. She basically had to arch, big huge arch, and pull her shoulders back, and then that in turn made her not be able to clear hip, which usually goes into her bail. So she had to re-kip, cast, and then bail. And the commentator said that Rachel is the queen of saves on bars. She said that she does not come off the bar ever. And that was clear as she fought herself back into position. Unfortunately, she had to take an extra kip. She only went like 9.3, 9.35, something like that. But great job of fighting and, doing what you have to do for your team. And like I said, that ginger with absolutely perfect form. We do have one more kid that has come through Region 5. She was a legacy elite gymnast, and it's Britney West. Britney trained down at Brandy Johnson's gym for her remainder of her career. At the end of her high school career, her parents moved, but she was a former level 10 at Legacy. And she went 9.8 on beam. I know she was injured last year, but I'm not sure what exactly the injury was. She was out all year, so I don't know if it was an Achilles or ACL or what was it. I actually sent a message to Dave before we recorded, but unfortunately I didn't hear back, so I'm not really sure, what happened there. But just a little shout out to Britney West as a former Region 5 kid competing as the anchor on beam for Pitt with a 9.8. We got to see Emily Debronix on floor for Eastern Michigan. That was one of the other routines other than Pitt that we got to see, and Emily, of course, is from UGA here in Illinois. She had a nice floor set to anchor. She had a few little landing issues on her first pass and her last pass, but she had the highest floor score for the Eagles with a 9.75. But talking about floor, by far the biggest floor routine in terms of height on any tumbling I've seen is from Utah State's Madison Ward. She does a round off full in. I think it's cool to see round off full ins because I have our level 10s at Palmer's. They do round off into their doubles. So it's kind of cool to see another kid to round off into a double back. But she has a round off full in. It's not easy to do that. It's pretty hard to actually get that rotation turned over from a round off. But awesome, huge. And then she does the highest 1.5. And usually you don't necessarily encourage your athletes to go super high on a 1.5 and then punch a front layout out of it. She goes huge on the 1.5, comes down and just stands straight up, and the front layout goes up. Now, granted, it's not as high as the 1.5, but definitely I'm sure they don't have a deduction because the front layout's still pretty big. And then her double pike, she actually kicks out of her double pike. She opens up. Most kids, land with their chest a little low because they don't ever really open. She almost opens up fully on her double pike. She went 9.9. And it was just, it was an awesome routine. I thought that was cool. I definitely wanted to highlight that, even though, she's obviously not a Region 5 kid. A couple other kids from Eastern, though, that are Region 5 kids. We have Callie Hardin from Gym America was the lead off on vault. I know she's a handspring front kid, handspring front half. I know she was in one of our videos sticking her handspring front half at regionals a couple of years ago, a year or two ago. Megan Hultegren. Megan was a gymnast here in Illinois at Rockford Gymnastics. She went 9.85 on vault. And then Sierra Grisham went 9.75, the anchor on vault. She is from World Class here in Illinois. So they competed on several events. The Eastern Michigan bar lineup was another one of those Region 5 lineups, although they did struggle on bars a bit in their performance with 47.3. But Courtney Benzold from Gym Nation in Ohio posted the highest score for them on bars at 9.7. So nice job, Courtney. And I know Patrick probably is proud that you were able to put up that big score for the team, be the top scorer on the team on bars here. Carly Clark, who's from Oakland Gymnastics, she put up a nice 9.6 for them. So the two solid bar sets for Eastern Michigan at this particular meet. On balance beam, we got to see the score for, unfortunately we get to see Caitlin Sattler. She's also from UGA, and Caitlin's always been a strong beam worker. It's actually one of her best events. Hopefully we'll get to see her through some of these MAC meets on balance beam, because she's strong, although she went 9.575, but they had a little bit of a rough time, although scoring over 48. They were in the mid 9.5, 9.6 range on beam. She led off on floor as well with a 9.65. And then Sierra Grisham, we talked about vault. She's a powerhouse. She competed floor for the 9.7, one of the second highest scores for them. And then Emily Dubronix, of course, the anchor with the 9.75 for Eastern Michigan. Then we had, of course, we have, of course, McKenna over at West Virginia. We talked about her last week. And Kim, how did McKenna do this week?
McKenna did great this week. I saw her beam routine. I didn't get to see it on the live stream, but I saw it on Facebook. Her club coach had put it up on Facebook or Instagram, some social media. I saw it. So it was a really good routine. I got to see the entire routine. She did beautiful tumbling, of course, beautiful jumps and leaps, as always. I really, really want to see her floor sometime. She went 9.850 on floor. So trying to get a hold of a floor video so I can see her routine and these great floor routines that keep coming out. So maybe, Claudia, if you're listening, you will find one of those and post it soon for us. But hopefully we'll get to see her eventually on floor. But she did amazing. So glad to see her in the floor and beam lineup.
Well, when you're a kid that can go up and score a 9.9, even though it didn't count, I mean, you didn't average out to a 9.9, but you get a 9.85 to start the floor lineup. That's no wonder why your last two kids are able to score a 9.9 on floor when you have that solid lead off there. And the last two that we had, we didn't get to see either of them compete, unfortunately, for Utah State. But you can see them in the background. Taylor Dittmer from World Class here in Illinois. She's actually a teammate of Sierra Grisham. She did balance beam. She has a cool series. I'm not sure if she's still doing it. She does the one arm back handspring layout step out. I know she was doing one arm back handspring layout in training prior to going to college. So I'm not sure, exactly what they have her doing, but she went 9.55. And then Cincinnati's Faith Leary competed on floor, and she posted a 9.65 for her floor routine. So unfortunately, we get to see those performances, and maybe we will down the road here at some point in time. I do know that Utah State goes against Utah a lot, and some of the other Pac-12 schools, so we may get to see them on the Pac-12 coverage here at some point during this season. So congratulations to West Virginia winning this competition with a 195, like I said, 195.5. Over to NC State, who hosted Ohio State. And of course, last weekend we talked about Ohio State being at Georgia for the opening weekend. This week, Ohio State had a much better competition. Congratulations to them, as they posted a 196.025 to win the competition over NC State, who posted a 194.925. I watched a few of the routines from North Carolina State, but unfortunately they don't have any Region 5 kids. Hopefully they will at some point. Let's recruit some Region 5 kids there. Ohio State, on the other hand, we have many, and they did much better than they did last weekend. We, of course, on vault had 4 of the 6 are from Region 5. And Jenna Schwarzentuber from Buckeye, a sophomore, led off again, 9.775. We had Janelle McClelland, 9.75. She's from Southern Ohio. And then I know your favorite, Kim, Sydney Jennings. We just talked about her sister on vault. Sydney was made her second vaulting attempt in competition in college with a 9.675. And then Olivia Aepli from Buckeye was fifth up in the lineup, and she went 9.825 this week. So some solid vaults. Some of these schools, and in some of these schools or areas of the country, vaults are being judged a little tighter than others. So these were good vaults, but of course they're all 9.5 vaults and not the 10.0 as we were seeing in other meets this past weekend. Over to bars, and they only had one hiccup on bars, but the rest were all above 9.8 for them this weekend. We saw Colby Miller again throw a big set, 9.825. We had Olivia Aepli, who actually missed her bar set last week, went 9.85 this week. And then, of course, Jenna Schwarzentuber is going to get that 9.9 plus soon. She went 9.875. And as we all know, I love Jenna's bar work because she's tall and it looks nice and long when she swings. She's always been one of my favorites to watch on bars in club. And now she's swinging big for Ohio State.
Claire did exhibition again, and actually stayed on the bar this time. Had a couple little small issues on her low bar, but I think she's going to get it eventually.
This week she decided that she'd like to do a few cast handstands before her pirouette, leading into her toe up, moving into her dismount. So, but it was good to see her again out there and doing that air clear. And I know that the commentator from NC State liked that skill. Actually, kind of oohed about her doing it.
I think everybody likes that skill.
Absolutely.
Different.
So,
but I feel eventually she's going to make it the whole bar routine and eventually maybe see a lineup.
Let's go, Claire. Air Claire. Let's see it. Balance beam for them. Jenna Schwarzentuber started off with a 9.8. And then they kind of dwelled a little bit at the end until Olivia went up and nailed a 9.825. It was a nice beam routine. I thought she looked very solid up there and confident. And definitely, I don't like to really watch beam, but of course, if I'm watching it for a specific reason or purpose, and I thought it was a nice beam routine. But then they moved over to floor, and we got to see Claire again on floor with that awesome routine. I know it's the same as you've mentioned, the same routine we saw last year in the JO program. But I think she's always had that personality, but I think she does a little bit more. She tried to get that crowd going with the hands up and down, and come on, bring it. And I think the crowd actually appreciated that. But solid tumbling. I know, like we said, sometimes Claire can be up and down when it comes to that. Another solid set. A little short on her double back dismount, but 9.825. Olivia had a slight problem, not a big deduction, but enough to put her down to 9.675. And then Janelle McClelland, 9.85. Huge floor score for them to set up their anchor, Jamie Stone, who had a beautiful routine for her 9.875. On that event. So Ohio State put up a 49.2 on bars, and then 3 high 48.9s to post the 196.025. A much better performance for them this week. And we spoke to Olivia about her performance and the difference between week 1 and week 2. What did you take away from your Georgia meet that impacted your preparation and performance at NC State?
We really took away from Georgia the concept of having each other's backs, knowing that if one of us falls or has a mistake, the rest of the lineup will pick you up. This really helps to relieve the pressure on us so we can focus better on our job at hand to do the best possible routine that we can do.
Penn State is next for you guys, live on the Big Ten Network. What will be important individually and as a team to build on your performances at NC State?
Individually and as a team, it is going to be very important to stick to our coaches' plans and focus on all the little details to get us to where we want to be. I hope the viewers notice how much this team loves gymnastics and how hard we have worked so far to get to this point. I would best describe the team this season as motivated, in great shape, enthusiastic, and ready to put out our best foot in competition.
Got dreams of competing in college gymnastics? Whether you're after a Division I scholarship or wanting to walk on to a college club team, Full Out Collegiate Recruiting is here to help. With our comprehensive recruiting packages, Hootie Gabishian, Division I scholarship athlete and Olympic gymnast, along with Wendy Campbell, media specialist, go full out to get you noticed with top-notch consulting, advising, personal webpage design, and analytics. You do the gymnastics, we'll help you with the rest. Schedule your free 1-hour consultation today. To get started, visit our website at www.fulloutcollegiaterecruiting.com or call us at 440-462-9665.
So the last meet that we looked over to find, obviously, Region 5 alums in was the UIC meet, hosted at UIC. And unfortunately, as many know, this is UIC's last year. It's unfortunate because obviously they give another opportunity, one, to come see college gymnastics in our area, which is always awesome, but another, obviously, program that provides scholarships for the young ladies who are working hard to try to earn one of those. When you take programs away, that obviously hinders that or hurts that. But these kids are putting a gallant effort. UIC went 194-2 in this competition to actually win the competition over Kent State, Centenary College, and University of Wisconsin Oshkosh. So there were two Division II-3 schools, and then there were two Division I schools in this particular quad meet. But in terms of competition performance, we have a few Region 5 kids at UIC. Maddie Nowak, she competed on vault, and I know she was a strong vaulter in JO. Not really sure exactly what happened. She only went 9.35. Also competing vault for the UIC Flames is another Crystal Lake gymnast, Riley Mahoney. Riley went 9.725 on vault, strong there. She also competed on balance beam and put up a 9.75 for them. We have Jenna Suqualo from Big. She can be a strong bar worker. She's not in the bar lineup at this point in time, but put up a 9.75 on balance beam. That she followed Daniela Maselli. Danielle was a gymnast at Gymkinetics here in Illinois, and she went up 9.775 as the leadoff, and so that's a strong performance for her to help UIC. They posted a 48.9, so just a little short, 1/10 short of that 49. They did go over 49 on floor, 49.075, led by several 9.8s. The top score 9.875 by Alyssa Sirmatia. So strong performance for UIC with a 194-2 to start off their season. We don't have any Region 5 kids, unfortunately, at Centenary, and being the fact that we didn't really get to see the meet, they had a few problems on bars. They were down in the 41s in bars, so they kind of struggled there. But Centenary is a Division II school for competing there. So over to Kent State. Kent State finished second in the competition, and we do have quite a lot of Ohio athletes on that team. We have Cammie Kline. Actually, Cammie's from DeVos. So she's not from Ohio. She's from Indiana. She competed on vault, 9.55. And then Dara Williams. Dara was a gymnast at Gymkinetics here in Illinois, and she posted a 9.75 as the anchor on vault. I know she has a big full on vault. I'm sure it's still pretty big. Over on bars, the leadoff on bars is Sarah Lipowich from Queen City, originally from Queen City. Senior, 9.675 for that routine. So second was Gabby Williams. She's from Youngstown Gymnastics, 9.5 on bars. We also had Madison Trott, who is from Olympic Dreams. Madison put up a 9.55 on bars. And then Madison Inuinzo. I never say her name right. Sorry, Maddie. She's from CGA, and she put up a 9.6 on bars. And then Dara Williams finished the event off with a 9.65. I remember Dara always having big swing. She was a big, like, just dynamic swing on bars. Wasn't necessarily her best event as a whole because she's a powerhouse kid, but she had some big swing when she competed in the JO program. So look forward to maybe seeing some of Kent State's again when the MAC gets on the roll and we start seeing the schools go head to head more. We hopefully will see Kent State. Competing on balance beam, Kline struggled a bit. Actually, both of our Region 5 kids struggled on balance beam. Sarah, too, both posted in 9:05 and a 9:2. But balance beam as a whole for Kent State at this meet, 47.225. They had to count 2 falls on this event, and they had some mid-9.6 scores, so that definitely brought their score down in the ranks. They also struggled a little bit on floor, but Madison Trott put up a 9.475. Maddie went 9.5 on floor, and Cammie Kline 9.575 to have the second highest floor score for the team. Their anchor Abby Fletcher went 9.8, but they went 47.9. So 2 48s to start them for the vault and bars, and then 2 low 47s, or floor was a 47.9, so just short of 48. But for their 2 beam and floor, that's definitely a struggle and brings the score down. And then talk just a little bit about Wisconsin's Oshkosh, University of Wisconsin Oshkosh. We have several kids on this. This is the Division III program, and it's great to see. I know Lauren, their head coach, pretty well. We've had some kids go to Oshkosh and compete, and we have several kids competing for her team. Jessica Bernardo from Oakland Gymnastics. She is the leadoff for them on vault, scored a 9.325. Most of these kids, when you see this, they do layouts on vault. There may be some fulls. I think Amira Aepli may do a full, possibly from Oakland, another Oakland kid, and we talked about her sister Rahana last week from Rutgers, competing on floor and vault for them. Big full in, what have you, but Amira put up a 9.425 as the anchor on vault, and then she also was able to compete on beam and lead off with a 9.425, and floor she had some issues, 8.875 as a lead off on that event. Another kid that we have from Illinois is Alyssa Knorr. She was actually one of my gymnasts way back when she was a young compulsory kid. She competed for Premier West for a while and then ended her career at Energym with Andy. She put up a 9.525 on balance beam. Balance beam has been one of her best events. She's always been pretty good on beam. And then she's can be a good floor worker too. She stepped out of bounds. It says a neutral deduction there, so I'm sure she stepped out of bounds. And she posted a 9.3 on floor. But Alyssa, I'm using as my alum or my D3 spotlight because this kid is a cool kid. I really like her family. Her family is very supportive. I know that Andy really enjoyed coaching Alyssa. I enjoyed coaching Alyssa, and I'm glad that she's out there enjoying herself and having fun and getting to compete in college, because that's the most important thing. It's just enjoying the experience and being able to compete and get out there and kind of enjoy all of the work and time that's gone into preparing yourself to do college gymnastics, the club gymnastics, and all those years and hours in the gym, to be able to go out there and be able to compete and represent your university. So my D3 spotlight is Alyssa Knorr from Oshkosh, and congratulations, and I wish you luck as you move through this particular season. She's a freshman this year, and I look forward to seeing more from you. But Kim, do you have a D3 spotlight you'd like to talk about?
I do. You already kind of talked about her for a minute. Jessica Bernardo from Oakland. She finished 5th all around, so pretty good showing there for her, finishing 5th all around for Oshkosh. However, I do like her a lot. I'm glad she's doing well and competing well. The last time I saw her as a club athlete, she had a really pretty big health scare. Spent some time in the hospital not competing, so glad to see that she's healthy and doing really, really well.
So as we see a lot this past two weekends of the 4-team competitions, the quad meets. You've seen them from time to time in the past, but not as much as you're seeing now. And the reason I think that this is, and I'm pretty sure this is the reason, is the change in format that the NCAA will go to starting this year. And the new NCAA format has several different competitions within one competition, within one site, within one weekend. Round one at the NCAAs, which is regionals, what regionals would be. Round one will be a regional play-in. And what this is teams ranked 29 through 36. It'll be in a 4-dual meet. There are 4 dual meets with two teams competing from the teams 29 through 36. And the winner of each of those meets advances to regionals. Now, this is all, these are on 4 different sites, and you just stay at that site and continue on the process. Then regionals, there'll be 2 quad meets. Each day, 2 quad meets at the regional sites, and the top 2 teams from each of those quad meets advances to the super regionals. The super regionals are another quad meet, so there'll be the 2 teams from both of those sessions on day 2, basically, round 2, will compete together, and the top 2 teams from each of those, from each of the quads advance to the national semifinal. So there are going to be 4 sites, Baton Rouge, so obviously LSU, Ann Arbor, University of Michigan, Athens, University of Georgia, and Corvallis, Oregon State, will host this first format of regionals, and it will include the regional play-in, then the regional 2 quad meets, the 1 quad meet, then the top 2 teams will advance on, giving you 8 teams that will move over to the NCAA Championship. At NCAAs, which will be at Fort Worth, Texas, this year, the NCAA Round 1 semifinals will have 2 quad meets. It's very similar to the way it is now, except for obviously now, in the past it was 6 teams with 2 byes. It is now just 4 teams on the floor together first session, 4 teams on the floor again second session, and the top 2 teams will compete or qualify to what they're now calling 4 on the floor. And so 4 on the floor, when you get to the NCAA finals, it'll just be a quad meet. 4 teams, 1 on vault, 1 on bars, 1 on beam, 1 on floor. They will rotate all 4 events, no byes. Much better obviously for TV coverage. Hopefully we'll get to see maybe some more routines, who knows, but definitely it will be a lot faster competition than it is now. So 4 on the floor quad meet, the winner is the national champion, and that will again happen at Fort Worth, Texas. So it's a big change in the way that they will qualify to championships, and so I'm sure this is the reason why you're going to see more quad meets this year, just to prepare the teams to get them used to doing a lot of those in that format and how fast that moves, to be able to be ready for that national championship qualification process of the regionals and then the national championship semifinals. So that's the way that the new NCAA format works, and we'll look as we get closer to see kind of where and who those teams are going to be as the season obviously ends. So as we finish talking about the meets for this particular weekend, we'd like to introduce our conversation today. And our conversation is with Rachel Underwood, a senior at Western Michigan University. She is as I mentioned, the Mac Gymnast of the Week for her performance this weekend against Northern. And we sat down with Rachel this week to talk to her about her performance in her first meet in her senior year. Rachel, thank you for joining us. What was going through your mind this past weekend as you competed in your first meet of your senior year?
What was going through our mind was just to have fun. We always say that during preseason, that's our time to really go hard, be tired, go through all that training so we can have fun during season and really go out there and show off what we've been working so hard on. And so we were just thinking of having fun and then just going out there and hitting our routines, and that was really our main focus, just hit the routines, because we know if we do hit the routines, then the results will come.
College gymnastics is more about the team than individual performances. But when you are honored as a Mac Gymnast of the Week, it means you are at your best for your team. What does it mean to you to start this season off as strong as you did? And how does that impact you for the rest of the season, your final season?
It definitely gives us as a team confidence, knowing that we started out so well, and that was our highest season opener score ever. So gives us confidence to go on to the next meets. But just as, like, for myself, it just gives me validation, like, because going into a meet, like, I don't think about that stuff, like, oh, I hope to be Mac Gymnast of the Week. I just focus on going out there and doing my job. And so once I saw that I was Mac Gymnast of the Week, I was excited. I'm like, oh, that's cool. I haven't won that before. So I was definitely honored to win that.
The MAC conference gets stronger every year. In your opinion, how has Western Michigan gymnastics changed from your freshman year to the team you are leading now in your senior year?
I think with gymnastics as a whole, like, every college team out there is getting better and better, and so that does put a little pressure on us, like, oh, we have to get better and better. But really, I think going through all these years, like from the first year moving on, you just get used to it and you build a sort of confidence knowing that, oh, okay, like last year wasn't so bad, like I can do better than that, and you just focus on setting little goals and looking at detail by detail instead of like the overall picture.
What do you feel is your biggest contribution you are making or hope to make on your teammates and the program here in your senior year?
I'd say definitely our biggest goal for Western Michigan Gymnastics is to make it to regionals, because we haven't done that so far, and so that's our main goal. But we're not so much focusing on that as it is just having fun, hitting our routines and sticking those dismounts, and just focusing on the little details, because we know if we do that, then the results will come. So I just hope that with my time here, I can bond with the team and have great team camaraderie and just make an impact on like the confidence and just overall well-being of the team.
You guys will compete against NIU again this weekend, along with Eastern Michigan, for a MAC tri-meet. NIU will be hosting this year's MAC Championships. What did you guys take away from your win on Sunday that you hope to build upon in this short week?
Yeah, this is a weird week because it was so short, but we're just kind of building off that first week, so keeping the same mindset, just hit the routines, stick the landings, and just making little small detailed changes. We don't need to be drastically better, we just need to stay consistent, and I think if we have that mindset week by week, then we'll just stay consistent, and that's what we need this year.
You've been a huge contributor to this Bronco team the last 3 years, setting individual team records along the way. What are you looking for in your senior year to feel satisfied that you are leaving this program and the sport with no regrets?
I feel like so far, like I am very satisfied with how I've done individually and as a team, and so just keeping that same like mindset going. I mean, I don't think we have to do anything drastically better, but of course, that top goal for us is making it to regional. So if we could do that, that would be awesome this year. But as long as we just focus on ourselves and getting better ourselves, I think that's our ultimate goal. Like, our competitors aren't the other teams. The competitors are ourselves, like getting better than we were last meet and than we were the year before.
Thank you, Rachel, and good luck, and enjoy your senior year. We have a couple alums that we want to talk about that had outstanding performances for their particular universities. And Kim, why don't you start off with one out in Alaska?
Yeah, Mackenzie Miller. She's a former Oakland gymnast from Michigan, and she is a huge bar worker for Alaska, going 9.825 on her bar set. Now, there wasn't any meet that was broadcast or anything, but I did see her on Facebook on her mom's Facebook page, and she did an incredible routine. So really glad to see her doing well out there in Alaska, and glad I got to see it because never really see Alaska that often. So it's nice to scroll through the Facebook pages of these parents and coaches and, you know, catch up on some of the athletes and teams that we may not see regularly.
You highlighted a bar worker in Mackenzie Miller from Alaska. I also have a bar worker that's being honored this week by Ball State, being the Cardinal Athlete of the Week, and that would be Jordan Penny. Jordan Penny was a former phenom gymnast, and she posted a 9.85 at her meet this past weekend out, I believe, at George Washington. And Jordan also competed balance beam for them, went 9.65 in their performance and was the anchor on balance beam. So congratulations to Jordan winning the Cardinal Athlete of the Week and putting up a strong 9.85 to lead her team on bars this weekend.
Well, since we're talking about outstanding Region 5 bar workers, we have another outstanding one from MSU with Jessica Ling, who is actually a former teammate of Mackenzie Miller from Oakland. She competes only bars for the Spartans, and she went 9.8. So definitely have strong bar workers coming out of Region 5 and Michigan.
And then we have one more that we're going to pull also from Ball State, and that's Caitlin Menzoni, men's. She was a gymnast from Big. She is always exciting to watch. She's a powerhouse, though. Kid can tumble. I know she did full-ins when she was in club. I'm sure she still probably does. But she went 9.8 on floor as the anchor for Ball State, and she competed on balance beam and went 9.75 for them, as well as a 9.7 on bars. So Caitlin's getting the job done for Ball State, and congratulations to both Caitlin and Jordan representing Region 5 and their particular clubs on the college level at Ball State, leading them to a 193.2, which was third place in that meet at George Washington, which was won by North Carolina, 194.175, and George Washington, 193.525. So congratulations on your accomplishments this week, and continued success as you move into the MAC conference competitions. Well, now we're going to talk a little bit about Kim's favorite thing in the whole wide world, and that would be the lovely Leos worn on the competition floor by the collegiate athletes. So, Kim, who would win our lovely Leos of the week?
Well, as everybody knows, leotards are my life, and so when I watch these college meets, I don't just think about who has the best flips and twists and turns. I think about who is dressed the best. So for this week, I really, really, really loved Florida's blue leotards with the sparkly, the white arms. Thought those were amazing. So those top my Leo list, as well as Alabama's crimson red with full sparkles and the very big open back. I really love the open back leotards. And Oklahoma. Oklahoma always has great leotards. I really loved these ones this week with the white and the lines and the sparkles. I do want to make mention of Utah's Leo. I think it might have been actually last week, but they had the mountains on the front of their leotard, which I really thought was really, really fun and unique. Kind of different. I love different. So those were fun to look at. And then rounding out my list here, my top 5, LSU and their elegant purple. So that is this week's lovely Leos.
That wraps up week 2 in the NCAA, and moving into week 3, there's a lot of meets that are some interest for both Region 5 as well as just the national audience. Of course, we already have talked about we will have 3 Friday Night Heights competitions this week: Arkansas, Kentucky, Alabama at Georgia, and Florida LSU. All those meets will be good meets to watch. I'm sure very competitive competitions, but a few of the others that I know that we're looking to see live on the Big Ten Network on Saturday. You can watch the Penn State Ohio State meet. That will be live on the Big Ten Network. Also looking forward to the Northern Illinois, Eastern Michigan, Western Michigan competition, because we obviously just saw Western Michigan, Northern Illinois competition that was very close. Eastern didn't have its best performances this first weekend out, but definitely have some strong routines, and that could make for a very interesting competition, being a 3-team MAC competition, which would be good. But what other meets are you looking forward to, Kim?
Well, being from Michigan State, of course, looking forward to that because that, no matter what sport it is, that is rivalry central. So, and we have a lot of Region 5 kids on both those teams. So that is the main meet I'm looking forward to. Wish I could go see it, but I'll catch it on the live stream.
And we'll be looking out for some live streams or videos posted from some of the other schools. Of course, we are always looking out for our D2, D3 spotlight. So we'll be looking for those particular performances from some of the D3 schools in action again next week with Whitewater in action. We have several alums in Whitewater and Stout, University of Wisconsin Stout. Those two will go together. Go together. Those two will compete against each other at Stout, and that will be their first meets of the year for them. And then on Saturday, we will be. I'd be interested to see the Maryland-Illinois meet. Illinois and Maryland are very well matched in terms of gymnastics, and we have several, obviously, alums at both of those. We got to see Illinois last week at the Central Michigan meet, so it'd be interesting to see that. And we have a few more teams within the MAC, as well as the D2, 3 teams competing that weekend. Or on Saturday, that may be some interesting competitions to watch. But again, if you are interested in knowing what meets and when to watch, you need to go check out Spencer's whole list of competitions over at the Balance Beam Situation. He has a list of every competition there is. And then, of course, if you go to ESPN, you can see which ones are being held on ESPN, ESPN3, and live streaming through there. And also then check out websites of the teams to be able to see if they have a live stream that's just not posted. So, did you miss our coverage from Circle of Stars? Or are you just gym nerds and want to watch it over and over again? Check out our live streams of all 3 Level 10 sessions, as well as individual competition videos, now up on our Circle of Stars coverage page. Or check them out on our new YouTube channel, the Region 5 Gym Insider TV. That's Region 5 Gym Insider TV. This meet was an Ostia Cup qualifier, and again, congrats to Aspire's Sierra Brooks and Buckeyes Natalie Martin for qualifying to this year's Ostia Cup. Check out their interviews on our coverage page. Thank you to Midwest Gym Supply, Flip Fest, and A1 Awards for sponsoring our Circle of Stars coverage. Thank you to our Insider patrons. We love what we do, and your support helps us continue to produce our content for the Region 5 community. If you're interested in becoming an Insider patron, click on the link at the top of this page, or go to patreon.com/Region 5 Gym Insider and select the tier support that fits your budget. If you have any questions, comments, etc., please feel free to email us at region5insider@gmail.com or leave us a voice message on Skype at Region 5 Insider Podcast. Thanks again to all our sponsors, followers, and subscribers. Follow us on all our social media accounts for up-to-date information on what's going on in Region 5. Thanks for joining us for our College Salute podcast. We'll see you next week for another spine-breaking coverage of our Region 5 alums. Until next time, we are
Region 5, we are burning fire. Say 1, 2, ready or not, here I come, coming in hot. I'ma take my body for a spin.